Good morning and welcome to the Leaders Brief by egomonk. Today we will be looking at the new US-Canada-Mexico trade deal and what it means for the North American auto manufacturing. Continued protests against China's security law in Hong Kong and its effects on global trade, and increasing troubles for Facebook, with advertisers for over 400 brands threatening to boycott the social media giant over hate speech policies.
Good luck to all of you now in the future. God bless you.
That was George H.W. Bush after signing the historic North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement Bill in December 1992, creating the largest free trading area in the world.
I believe we have made a decision now that will permit us to create an economic order in the world that will promote more growth, more equality, better preservation of the environment, and a greater possibility of world peace. We are on the verge of a global economic expansion that is sparked by the fact that the United States at this critical moment decided that we would compete, not retreat. In a few moments, I will sign the North American Free Trade Act into law. NAFTA will tear down trade barriers between our three nations. It will create the world's largest trade zone and create 200,000 jobs in this country by 1995 alone.
President Bill Clinton claimed in 1994, 25 years later, the USA, Canada, and Mexico have replaced NAFTA with the US-Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement, or USMCA. The agreement was signed in 2018 and came into effect on July 1st this year. The replacement was necessitated by current US President Donald Trump's strong dislike for the NAFTA, which he called the worst deal ever. His predecessor, Barack Obama, also called NAFTA a mistake, blaming the free trade agreement for loss of jobs, specifically in the auto industry in the United States of America. Though US President Donald Trump has called the deal the greatest trade deal under his presidency, it may be several years before the benefits of the USMCA become visible. Concerns over Mexico being able to implement proper labor laws and the US's threat to levy a tariff on Canadian metal may prove to be initial roadblocks for the successful implementation of the free trade agreement. The deal is expected to benefit the US aluminum industry dependent on the North American supply chain and balance the impact of China's aluminum overcapacity on the global market. For the auto industry though, the deal may increase the cost of productions of a large section of vehicles. The new trade deal, being popularized as NAFTA 2, requires 40 to 45% of auto parts to be manufactured by workers earning at least $16 per hour by 2023 to qualify for the non-tariff category. From the previous 62.5% of auto components being sourced from North America, new rules under the USMCA increases the threshold to 75%. While this is being seen as a protectionist move, and is expected to increase car manufacturing in North America, the end result could see an increase in retail prices of automobile by $450 to $2,000. The availability of cheaper labor and material may also tempt auto manufacturers to move to other parts of the world. The other important modification that the USMCA has done to NAFTA is its rule on digital trade. What can be seen as a big boost for digital property distributors such as Amazon and Netflix, the new law bans custom duties on digital products and prohibits forced data localization. As businesses struggle to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and countries looking to boost local manufacturing, the timing of the USMCA seems to be a blessing in disguise. The USA, which is in the middle of signing a trade deal with China, with the Asian giant promising to accelerate the purchase of US goods, could see a substantial manufacturing increase over the next decade. However, US-China relations remain sour over Beijing's handling of coronavirus and escalating protests in Hong Kong. Protests have rocked Hong Kong ever since China imposed a new security law on the autonomous region. Police continue to carry out arrests of protesters, drawing heavy global criticism, even as Beijing threatens life imprisonment on people who they consider a threat to security. In their first ever press conference, protesters in Hong Kong placed a 5-point demand.
We hereby make an urgent call for the government not to waste further public resources by holding daily press conferences.
Hong Kong's chief executive, Carrie Lam, called the law, which is largely being seen as an assault to Hong Kong's autonomy, as a turning point for the Chinese administrated region, and said that the law targets an extremely small minority of people responsible for 4 types of crimes threatening national security. However, the implementation of the law and continued unrest in the city is likely to affect over $60 billion of Hong Kong-US trade. While Hong Kong's investments in the US stood at $16.9 billion, the US's investment in Hong Kong for the same year was a little over $82 billion. US President Donald Trump called China's impositions on Hong Kong a complete violation of Beijing's treaty obligations with the United Kingdom.
This week, China unilaterally imposed control over Hong Kong's security. This was a plain violation of Beijing's treaty obligations with the United Kingdom in the Declaration of 1984 and explicit provisions of Hong Kong's Basic Law. It has 27 years to go. The Chinese government's move against Hong Kong is the latest in a series of measures that are diminishing the city's long-standing and very proud status. This is a tragedy for the people of Hong Kong, the people of China, and indeed the people of the world.
Hong Kong, which was handed over by Britain to the People's Republic of China in 1997, has remained an attractive investment hub, primarily due to its autonomous nature and rule of law. Chinese policies could bring in several restrictions forcing US companies, which number around 1,500 in Hong Kong, to move out, threatening jobs and increasing expenditure. The US-China Business Council had said in a statement that American companies invest in Hong Kong because of its special status, geographic location, and market-based economic system, and a change to this status quo would irreparably damage American global business trade. Hong Kong, which fell into a deeper recession by the end of 2019, with its GDP contracting by 1.2%, will now find recovery a much more difficult task. This would undoubtedly open avenues for cities like Singapore to attract more foreign trade.
We're going to add a prompt to tell people that the content that they're sharing may violate their policies, our policies. Now, to clarify one point on this that I know a lot of people have asked about, there's no newsworthy exemption to content that incites violence or suppresses voting. Even if a politician or government official says it, if we determine that content may lead to violence or deprive people of their right to vote, we're going to take that content down, no matter who says it. And similarly, there are no exceptions for politicians in any of the policies that I'm announcing here today. We're also going to be banning posts that make false claims, like saying that ICE agents are going to be checking immigration papers at polling places.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said on June 27th. However, the latest round of talks between Facebook executives and advertisers who will boycott the social media platform due to lack of concrete policies against hate speech from July 1st did not yield any positive results. About 400 companies, including Coca-Cola and Starbucks, are set to pull down their advertisements from Facebook, alleging that the social media giant is not doing enough to combat hate speech. While civil rights organizations, including the Anti-Defamation League, NAACP, and the Color of Change continue to demand Facebook put up stricter policies against hate speeches that could flare up communal disharmony, Facebook has maintained that it has necessary hate speech measures in place, and had said that it would submit to an audit its hate speech controls. Although the 400 companies make up for a nominal portion of Facebook's total advertisement earnings, the boycott is beginning to start a movement against the company and Mark Zuckerberg, who is considered to be a soft ally of US President Donald Trump. Thank you for listening. Tune into egomonk to stay updated on the latest happenings and their impact on global trade, technology, and innovation. egomonk helps you make sense of change. We are a global intelligence platform delivering asymmetric outcomes by bringing organizations closer to the communities they want to serve and the leaders they wish to influence. Visit our website insights.egomonk.com, that is insights.egomonk.com, to subscribe and make better and faster decisions today.